Talk Radio 102.3.
It was not a home. My family, they were torn apart.
When you point to me, that means we're on. Thank you, Greg Schaefer. Bob Moore Hour.
The missing piece.
Brought to you by Zaxby's.
Then I found someone
Going on 308. And we thank Zaxby's for sponsoring. Locations in Fort Oglethorpe, East Brainerd Road, Ottawa, Soddy Daisy, and Highway 58. This is Talk Radio 102.3, WGOW. And another week comes on and goes by, and people are still talking about Penn State. But the Penn State thing is just more and more just points to the evils of trying to protect an institution. What a shame. Paterno was a god to everyone up there, and they did everything they could to protect the football instead of protecting children. But that eventually is going to work itself out in the legal system, and hopefully, damage done. Damage done. All right, I'm happy to have my guest here with me today, Dr. Jean Howard Hill, who is a Republican candidate for Tennessee's 3rd Congressional District, which is currently held by Congressman Chuck Fleischman. And Dr. Hill holds a degree in urban planning and government from Wheaton College, and as a doctor of jurisprudence from UTK College of Law, completing, and she can correct me where I'm wrong on this, completing a PhD in philosophy at Oxford Graduate School, currently is a political science professor at UTC, and has a rather extensive resume past that. How am I doing so far?
Thank you so much for having me on. I never listen to my qualifications. I just sort of tune that out.
Yeah, all right. Well, I like that in a person that can do that and is willing to do it. Wheaton College in Norton, Mass. I went to Stonehill College in Northeastern, not 15 miles from
okay.
Norton. Sure.
So you must have paid a trip over there when we were all women's college.
When you were all women, yes. I was there in the early 70s.
Okay, and I can't go that far because that will divulge some information I don't want.
I hear you. Well, we're all cool with that. All right. Let's get to a lot of things. First of all, thanks for being here, and
thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you. What's the difference in today's world between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, as far as you see it?
Well, you know what? I'm not seeing a lot of difference simply because we have just gotten to be a two-party system of just fighting each other and not really getting a lot of anything done and pointing the finger at each other. And I think that the blame has to be placed on both parties when it comes to that. And because of that, we're losing the kind of civility that we need in Washington, D.C. And there's a lot of gridlock simply because one party does not want the other party to get some points up on them. And so, because of that, we're losing some really good ground.
I totally agree with you. But, philosophically, and maybe even let's honing in on issues. Well, there has to be differences. I understand there's the sameness when we're all about the next election.
So you want me to do a political science lesson real quick in about 1 second?
Well, no, I'm going to give you as much time as you want to provide us.
Well, basically, and this is the ideology that has been set forth, is that the Republican Party is supposed to be a party that's more conservative, more fiscal conservative. The Democrats are supposed to be people who spin. the Republican Party is supposed to be a party that believes in individual rights. But when you start talking about this ideology, one of the things that I have to really, really admit is that when you start looking at today's world and Democrats and Republicans, you don't see a whole lot of difference until it comes to moral issues. And when you start talking about moral issues, I think that the Republican Party seemingly is more willing to talk about, have that God conversation. And the Democratic Party perhaps may not be as forward-moving in terms of that.
As long as it's your God.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Republicans, I mean, Republicans seem to take ownership of
exactly, and there is no ownership of God.
Right.
Absolutely no ownership. And, of course, this is not the way I feel, but I'm saying that when you look at things now, the ideologies are beginning to mesh together because people are just sick and tired. If you talk to a Democrat now, they're talking about we need to get things in line, spending, we need to be more accountable. If you talk to a Republican, they're saying basically the same thing. If you talk to senior citizens, they're saying don't ask Medicare and Social Security.
Right.
Because we're talking about common interests. And people are coming to the forefront now saying, you know what, you can have your party ideology, but when it comes to issues that are impacting me, I'm not looking at party, I'm looking at what should be done.
Sure. And that's reflected in Tea Party movement, and it's reflected in even in the Occupy movement, and it's reflected even in people that were probably took ownership in part of a party, in a segment of a party, but no longer can and don't know where they are?
Yes, independents. I have never met so many independents. People who are saying, well, I used to be a Republican, but I can't go with some of the things. I'm not a Democrat anymore. And so we're going to see a lot of middle of the road because we're seeing it right now. I know I am in the 3rd District.
People of color and minorities have long felt that the Republican Party, doesn't speak for them. When and why did you choose, as an African-American woman, choose to be a Republican?
Well, I came into the Republican Party in 1979, and the party didn't choose me. I chose it because I believed in some of the basic ideology. And really, one of the sentiments of the Republican Party is civil rights, equal rights for everyone. I believed in economic empowerment. I believe that government should not be so involved in everyday life to the point that you have to give up individual freedoms. And so a lot of the ideology of the Republican Party I chose back then simply because of that. But, it wasn't a popular thing for me to come in 79, and it's certainly not a really popular thing.
It's still not.
No, to be a Republican now. But what makes it even more unpopular is that we are sort of shunned sometimes within our community. It's taken me a while to gain the respect of the African-American community locally. But it's that even when you come into the Republican Party as an African-American, you've got to be like a super African-American. And we have so many African-Americans who are just tremendously qualified, have businesses, and they're Republicans, but when it comes to us having an actual place at the table, policy, appointments, being elected, it seems as if we're only offered to come to the table to eat.
Right.
And not to be an active participant within the party.
Well, who in the Republican Party, let's say since 1979, have you been able to look up to and say, there's a Republican that's speaking for me?
Well, it's pretty hard to speak for me because I'm going to always speak for myself.
I understand that.
But I think some of the people that I have admired, one of them is Dr. Condoleezza Rice. She is a fantastic woman. In fact, we're going to be joining her in a couple days in Washington, D.C. for a conference. And so I see her as one person. And of course, she doesn't come out in terms of speaking in terms of African-American issues, but certainly she's somebody that I can look up to. General Colin Powell. I think he has been someone that has been a role model within the Republican Party. But since we don't have many, we're talking about a couple flies in a bowl of buttermilk, so I don't have that many choices.
No, I understand that, but does it have to be for you as an African American woman to have a role model? Do they have to be African American?
Absolutely not.
So I'm asking you, from 1979, can you give me a Republican, a non-white Republican, if we're going to go in that direction for a second.
Former First Lady Laura Bush, I love her. She is such a gracious woman. She does so many things that are powerful, and she doesn't put herself out there where everybody can see it, but she's making movement in terms of rights of women, issues that are being addressed in third world countries, all those kinds of things. And I would really say that she's someone that I really, if you ask me for a hero, I would probably have to say her.
Well, how'd you feel about her husband?
Well, he did what he had to do, and
you think so? In what way? And we won't go too far into it, but I mean, what way did he do? You mean he did what he had to do by invading Iraq? No,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he did what he had to do as a president, and I'm sure he felt that he did the best that he could. Yeah. But I think that he did make some mistakes. I would not have gone in and invaded any country. But when you're in that position, you do things, and then when you look back, you sort of say, maybe I shouldn't have. Same thing with Katrina. I think if he had to do that all over again, he would have done differently.
That was a mess.
Hope so.
That was a complete mess.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And really didn't show the compassion that was needed by a leader for him to be up in a helicopter observing, and then the people that were in charge on the ground completely. It
was chaotic. It was a mess. And that's one of the times and moments in history where I really believe that he regrets, and it was a regrettable.
All right. Well, enough about George Bush, because people will think I'm still blaming Bush for everything in the world, and that's totally untrue. You brought up his wife, so I just kind of piggybacked onto that. And I do invite calls if you want to talk to Dr. Hill about anything politically. She is running in this race. She's running against Chuck Fleischman. She wants to be your congressperson, your congresswoman, and from the 3rd District. So 267-1023. We will have 3 breaks today, so we're going to kind of move fast on our questions, and because there's a lot to cover. Let's talk about what I think, what I consider the biggest evil in American politics, and that's money. It buys influence.
Yes.
It buys protection, and most importantly, corrupts the process of government by the people for the people. What's your take on the corruption of the dollar right now, as far as in the political process?
I couldn't agree with you more, because if you take money from an individual, basically what they're doing is buying influence.
Right.
And the model that I'm taking in this election is that if I have to collect dollars, $5, $10, or $15, I'm okay with that, simply because that's going to represent the grassroots people. But when you start going and getting money from even people that are already elected, that you're serving with, money needs to be gotten out of the immediate district in which you're running, because money is an instrument to buy influence. And that's the corruption now. And when you look at what's going on now, and that people, this whole seemingly conflict between the haves and have-nots, I think that people are beginning to realize that politics now is so full of money, and it is an evil with that. It certainly is, because you're putting money in somebody else's hand for them to do something for you.
Right.
And there is no such thing as I'm giving you a free dollar.
Right. They're buying time with that particular candidate, or they're buying time for that particular politician who's already
to vote the same way. And
Absolutely.
We shouldn't be going to Washington as gangbangers.
Right.
When you go to Washington, you represent your particular district. Every district has a uniqueness about it.
Right.
And so, therefore, if you should be about the interests of your people, and if your people are contributing to your campaign, then you're going to have to answer to them.
But unfortunately, I mean, don't you find it that the only way we enact change with that is the people in office have to vote that in, and they're the ones that are the problem.
Exactly. And that's why.
So how does it ever change?
You got to change the mentality. You got to send people who won't mind saying we need campaign reform, and we need it now.
But we've been saying this now for 40 years, as long as I remember.
But the people when we're talking about issues, when was the last time you heard people raise the issue of campaign reform? And it's simply because politicians have kept the people ignorant.
Right.
They don't want them knowing certain things, because if they knew, then these are some of the issues that they would put forth to the candidates and to those that are elected.
Yeah. All right, let's take our first break, Greg, and because we have 3 breaks. And 267-1023. Dr. Gene Howard Hill is your candidate for the Tennessee 3rd Congressional District, currently held by Chuck Fleischman, and we're going to touch a little bit on Chuck Fleischman. I want to talk about what he's done, and then we'll go off on some other issues with Dr. Hill. A lot to talk about. All right, it's a rainy day in Chattanooga. It looks like the main bulk of the rain, believe it or not, hasn't even arrived yet. It will be here. Here I am giving my own weather forecast, but that's what I do. It's going to rain pretty heavy, like late tonight into mid-morning tomorrow. All right, it is 3:22. It's the Bob Moore Hour, brought to you by Zaxby's. We'll be back.
Jesus. He's my joy in sorrow, and he is my hope for tomorrow.
You're listening to Bob Moore Tuesdays on Live and Local. The lines are open now at 267-1023, 267-1023. Bob Moore Tuesdays, sponsored by Zaxby's, East Brainerd Road, Highway 58, Ooltewah, Fordo, and Soddy Daisy. Zaxby's, indescribably good. Bob Moore Tuesdays on Talk Radio 102.3.
Hey, look, dude, a lucky penny. Make a wish. I wish Zaxby's would bring back the celebration special. Why would you wish for that? Oh, does my wish not meet your lofty standards? Is it so impossible to think that enjoying a delicious meal of chicken fingers, crinkle fries, Texas toast, and a refreshing beverage at a reasonable price is enough to make me happy? Must I have money and power and the attention of the fair agenda to be wish-worthy to you, Judge Judgeson? Now I command you to apologize to me, to Zaxby's, to the celebration special, and to all of mankind. Yeah, Zaxby's already brought back the celebration special. Oh, I wish I would have known that.
The celebration special is back. 4 of our signature chicken fingers, crinkle fries, Texas toast, Zax sauce in a 32-ounce drink, all for just $5.99. What more could you wish for? Zaxby's, indescribably good. Prices may vary by location, available for a limited time only.
Stop by any of our locations in Chattanooga on East Brainerd Road or Highway 58, and also in Ooltewah, Fort Oglethorpe, and Soddy Daisy. Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Linda Childress, CEO of Lucan Holdings.
We have the absolute best property management team. The reason is we work together for years, and we absolutely care about the properties and the tenants. We have never found a tenant too small, and so far we've never found one too large. And we love the fact that people look at our property and say, that must be a Lucan property because of the way they take care of their property. And we really do. It is the heart of who we are.
Lucan Holdings, Chattanooga's premier commercial property management company. Call 756-1200 or online, lucanholdings.com.
The best balls coverage is on the Talk Monster, the Vol Network Notebook, weekdays at 4:20. Big Orange Hotline, Mondays at 8. The Nation, Sundays at 7. And Sport Talk, afternoons, 4 until 7. Color the Monster orange. Talk Radio 102.3.
Join the Village Idiots this Friday, 9 until 11 at Dale's Heating and Air. Enjoy food from Zaxby's of Ooltewah, ice-cold Coca-Cola, and Dasani water from Chattanooga Coca-Cola. We'll be collecting toys for the Samaritan Center Toy Drive. So bring a new unwrapped toy valued at $25 and under to the Village Idiots at Dale's Heating and Air. Dale is also donating $5 from every service call to the Samaritan Center this holiday season. That's this Friday, 9 till 11 at Dale's Heating and Air, located on Main Street across from the Ooltewah Post Office on Talk Radio 102.3.
No matter what your home improvement need, rely on Service Magic, your free source for top-rated contractors in hundreds of home improvement categories. Log on to homepro.servicemagic.com. That's homepro.servicemagic.com.
I'm sure you're thinking, boy, I'd like to pay less for my car insurance, but switching seems like a lot of work. All the hassle and whatnot. Well, I'm here to tell you that is simply not the case. Geico makes it so easy to switch and start saving money straight away, without getting buried in a ton of paperwork. You know, that actually happened to me once. Literally, I was buried under my income taxes for 6 days. Haunting, really.
For a free rate quote, visit geico.com. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
For most people, the Christmas season is a wonderful time of the year. But for families in need, the holidays can be lonely and even hopeless. But you can help. Join WGOW and the Salvation Army by choosing a child or senior from an angel tree at Hamilton Place, Northgate, or Bradley Square malls. Then buy gifts for that child or senior and bring them back to the angel tree. Don't forget, help the Salvation Army. Be a shield by joining them and doing the most good.
Jeff Styles makes you think, cuss, maybe even get in a fight. And he claims to be anti-war. Mr. Styles with a Y on WGOW FM.
You can wave your hands. Come on, I see you out there. You're driving. Keep one hand on the wheel. The other hand, you can do a little wave. Yeah, sometimes we all need that. All right, 3:27.5, the Bob Moore Hour, brought to you by Zaxby's. 267-1023. We invite your calls. We have two callers holding, and I'll get you, Garrett and Wes, and we have one line open. My guest today is Dr. Gene Howard Hill. He is running for 3rd Congressional District Congressperson, and running against the incumbent Chuck Fleischman. Let's go to our callers, Dr. Hill, and then we'll delve into some other areas. Let's go to Garrett first. Garrett, how are you?
Yes, hi. Fine, thank you. I have a few questions for Dr. Hill. One, a doctor of what?
You're a doctor of what, Dr. Hill?
Jurisprudence.
Jurisprudence.
Okay. And what's her party affiliation?
Republican.
All right. I've announced that 3 or 4 times. What else? What is your main question?
My main question is she going to stand on her ideals, much like a lot of the new freshman congressmen, or is she going to be willing to cross party lines and work with opposing party members, even at the ire of her superiors?
All right, that's a great question, Garrett. Thank you. All right, so the gist of his question is there's a lot of people out there that are frustrated. They're frustrated because we have gridlock, and it's basically about the next election. So we can't let this law get passed, or we're not going to reach across the aisle. What are your thoughts on that?
When I go to Washington, D.C., I'm going to act like an adult, a grown-up, and I think that's one of the things that we have not done. And just because I am a Republican, that does not mean that I cannot listen to other parties and other individuals. When I go to Washington, D.C., I'm representing the people, and the people have a right to give me their opinions. They have a right, after I have researched the issues and put those issues out before them, I'm going to want the people, the public, the people of the 3rd District to give me their input as to some issues. And yes, at some point in time, you've got to reach across the aisle and have someone reach across to you, and you reach across as well. You cannot get anything passed in Washington, D.C. without a majority. And so, therefore, there are some things that you have to sit down and work on. And we've got to get away from this partisan thing so much that if someone has a good idea, and just because it's a Democratic idea, we're not going to go with it. Or if someone has a Republican idea and I'm a Democrat, we don't want to go with it. There's time out for brownie points. Because what we need to do is come up with some good legislation that's going to benefit people and not the party. The party.
What's the difference between you and Chuck Fleischman?
Oh, there's a major.
I know we only have a half hour left, so but in 3 or 4 minutes, and Wes, I'll get to you, and then I'll get to Barry. What are the main differences?
I know the process. I have taught American government, state and local and international. I directed a program called Democracy in Action that taught civics for years. Right. And so I understand the process. I'm my own woman. I don't need someone to tell me what to do. I don't need for anyone to do my research. I'm a research consultant. I will do research on those bills that come before the people and that are being introduced. And I'm just a different kind of person. I'm a people's person. Instead of going to Washington looking for support, I'm out there in these rural districts, right, talking to people, sitting down at their homes with 5 to 10 people. I'm out there because I'm a people's person. You cannot get to know the people of the 3rd District until you get out there. And another thing, I'm going to listen to people. I'm not going to Washington and do my thing. I'm going to Washington to do the thing of the people.
Let's go to Wes, and then Barry, we'll get to you. We have one line open, 267-1023. My guest is Dr. Jean Howard Hill, running for 3rd Congressional District Congressperson. And, Wes, you're on the air.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Hill, for intelligent insight into what's going on here locally, statewide, and nationally. I'd like to say I'm a 62-year-old Vietnam veteran, 100% service-connected disabled. I am a C-SPAN fanatic.
Yeah.
Last night, I was watching an event. It was a forum, not a sworn testament type thing, but a forum held by Congressman from Michigan, Conyers.
Yeah.
And he had several people there as witnesses to testify about voter suppression. And what impressed me most of all, and I grew up in Hamilton County, but I migrated after my military years to Rutherford County. And I love Rutherford County because the VA and all the government officials that I worked with live there. But what impressed me about this couple, that he and his wife had migrated all the way from Iowa, and he told his story about how he had worked in education and was he had at one time taught in the colleges. He had an associate degree out of Iowa and was transplanted here through a program that moved him here to Smyrna, Tennessee, he and his wife and several children. They testified last night that it was voter suppression going on in Rutherford County, and he witnessed it firsthand when he took his wife to this photo ID.
Right.
That was limited to one Saturday in the state of Tennessee, and it was not publicized other than through certain media outlets. And he went on to explain how it was such a hassle for him to obtain this, and at the bottom line was they wanted him to pay $8 just so the motor vehicle people could speed him and his wife through the process. And all of America is watching this on C-SPAN.
Right.
And I'm like, how can we not bring this to the attention of local people when it's going on within several states? In Texas, you have students that are going to state schools with state-issued ID that have to go and get another form of voter's registration ID. The state ID that the state issued is not good for college students, but if you have a license to tote a concealed weapon, you can vote.
Hey, Wes,
Go figure. No,
yeah.
That's a question for Dr. Hill, and I would like to hear your input. Thank you very kindly.
Hey,
and
Wes,
keep
thank
on
you.
With the keep it on.
Thanks,
and
Wes.
I will cross party lines to vote for you, Dr. Hill. Thank you very much.
All right, Wes, hey, and thank you for your service, Wes. I appreciate it, brother. All right, your comment on the voter ID that in the possible suppression that comes within that.
Well, it's got to be tweaked. I don't think that the major concern is with having a voter's ID photo. I think the concern is what they're requiring, the type of ID that they're requiring. And a lot of people are not going to be able to get that. And I think we're going to have to tweak that. We're going to have to rethink that because the major thrust should be getting people to the polls and getting them in a position where that they can vote. And certainly we don't want to disenfranchise anyone simply because they don't have the appropriate photo ID. And so I agree it has to be tweaked.
All right, let's go to Barry. He's on line one. Barry, how are you?
Yes, doing fine, thanks. I want to thank Dr. Hill for running as a Republican. I appreciate that, all the hard work. I do have a question about foreign policy, Nigeria. Recently, I read in the papers on the internet that there is 130 Christians that got killed in Nigeria, and they burned 10 churches up there. If you were a congresswoman, would you condemn the act? Like the State Department never condemned the act publicly. And would you condemn it, and would you speak out against it?
All right. Well, thanks, Barry. I mean, it's hard for you to comment on. I don't know if you're aware of this because I'm not aware of it, but Barry stays on top of those things.
I think I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Any act where you're taking innocent lives, anybody would have to condemn that.
Yeah.
But being a congressman, I mean, that's probably as far as I could go, since it's a sovereign nation, and there's very little that we can do in interfering within a sovereign nation.
What do you like about President Obama?
What do I like now? You know, you just threw that one in. And you're smiling. Well, I think what I would admire about him is that he is a family person.
Right.
And I have seen him retain and remain in that role even amidst all the other things. He has kept his children out of the spotlight. And when I see that, I have to applaud him with that. And regardless of whether you agree with him or not, he has been one who has stuck to his guns. And sometimes you have to be that as a leader.
I always find it interesting when I ask somebody a question that they're not expecting. And the first thing that goes through my mind is that you might be thinking, how will my answer, if I answer this quickly, hurt me?
No, I never think that, because I want to give an honest opinion.
Yeah.
And so I'm never going to try to flower anything. It is what it is. And,
but politically, I mean, I really don't care what you think about his family. What I'm more concerned about is what do you think about him in the political process and how he's doing in that light?
Well, I try not to criticize any president. I didn't do it for Bush, and I won't do it for Obama either, simply because that is a position when you are heading a nation. That is not an easy position. Yeah. And so what I have done, rather than try to criticize a Republican or Democratic president, I pray for my president, regardless.
Okay.
And I pray for them daily, that they will have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do the job they need to do.
Chuck Fleischman has built a rather substantial war chest. He knows how the game is played, and Boehner paid back whatever favor was due Chuck Fleischman for his votes. This is Bob Moore speaking, my opinion, by coming in a few weeks back and got all the powers that be that that had the deep pockets to help Chuck for that particular night. Your thoughts on that night itself? And how that reflects on the way campaigns are run.
You talking about the night that Congress was made to be a whore?
Yeah, exactly. The Chip Saltzman war chest dance.
One expensive whore. And to be honest with you, I don't really see what's the need to this with this big war chest. You can get to any point in the 3rd District within 2.5 hours by car. You're not flying, so why do you need all this money? There are people that are in the 3rd District that are actually hurting. Senior citizens are hurting. There are people who are trying to keep a roof over their heads, have lost their jobs, and he's raising this kind of money. I mean, it's like flaunting it in front of people who don't have the means. And the other thing, too, let me just make this clear. I'm getting money. I'm going to be raising money. But 50% of what I raise is going to go back to senior citizens. We've already started that, because I believe that you use what you need in order to campaign, and that you do not need, why are you raising the money? And then you raise it to give another candidate money. So tell me what that's all about if it's not whoring and prostituting the office of Congress.
How do you think the Republicans feel about the job that he's doing?
I would rather not say.
All right. So, all right.
I think they would have to speak for themselves. But, I mean, it's evident. Usually if you run the first time, people give you a second term. And so some indication of that, you can see that. The number of people that are jumping out in the race or anticipating jumping out into the race.
All right, all right, we'll continue. Let's take a break, Greg Schaefer. It is going on 341. My guest is Dr. Jean Howard Hill, running for her 3rd Congressional District Congressperson. And her slogan, her mantra is, keep America's dream alive and don't let it die. Am I right on that?
You're right. Let's keep it alive.
All right. All right, 341, the Bob Moore Hour brought to you by Zaxby's. Brother Bush, you hang on. We'll get you as soon as we come back from the break. We have a line open at 267-1023. It is WGOW Talk Radio 102.3.
You're listening to Bob Moore Tuesdays on Live and Local. The lines are open now at 267-1023, 267-1023. Bob Moore Tuesdays, sponsored by Zaxby's, East Brainerd Road, Highway 58, Ooltewah, Porto, and Soddy Daisy. Zaxby's, indescribably good. Bob Moore Tuesdays on Talk Radio 102.3.
Own a business? Then write this down. Print Tree Printing and Signage. Print Tree can enhance your business image with everything from business cards to signs, posters, wall murals, and vehicle wraps. A vehicle wrap can do wonders for your business like it has for Graff Studios. Here's Dennis Graff.
Well, I felt that getting a wrap for my car would be one of the most long-lasting forms of advertising that I could have. It would be with me wherever I went, and all my clientele would see it.
How has that helped your business?
Having the wrap has created a lot of excitement for our business. People actually come out of stores or approach me in the parking lot and ask me about the wrap and what kind of work we do. We have had a number of calls from our phone numbers on the car.
And why did you use Print Tree?
I had seen other vehicles wrapped, and I always thought it was interesting and fascinating and eye-catching, and I happened to see their own vehicle wrapped, and I stopped and asked them about doing my car.
Call Print Tree for your next project, 266-3400, and online at PrintTreeDigital.com. Print Tree can grow your business.
At Honda of Cleveland, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know your name. It's the unique advantage we have over the competition. It's having the selection of Hondas you desire and the people you would choose to do business with. We're a short drive up 75, and right now, you can take advantage of 0 down delivers on 9 different fuel-efficient Cleveland Hondas. That's 0 down, 0 first month's payment, 0 security deposit, and 0 acquisition fee. Like a new 2012 34-mile-per-gallon Honda Accord. 0 down and only $260 a month. Or 0 delivers on new 2012 Honda Civics. Walk in with no money down and drive away for only $230 a month. It's a good opportunity to save now and at the pump with Honda of Cleveland. 0 down delivers, and ask about our 0.9% financing. Shop 24/7 at HondaofCleveland.com or take the short drive of 75. Large enough to serve you, small enough to know your name. Honda of Cleveland. Offers require approved credit plus tax, title, and license. 36-month leases at $12,000 per year. EPA mileage estimates. See HondaofCleveland.com for more details.
Listen urgently. WGOW Radio.
Every day, businesses lose critical customer and financial data as a result of cybercrimes, human errors, and natural disasters. Barracuda Networks, the world leader in content security, application delivery, and data protection, with more than 130,000 customers worldwide, can help. Barracuda Backup Service combines local backup and deduplication for rapid restores with data storage in the cloud for fail-safe disaster recovery. Protect your critical data. Visit barracuda.com/backup to try Barracuda Backup Service free for 30 days. That's barracuda.com/backup.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, and I'd like to introduce the Yorgage from Quicken Loans. Our Yorgage is better than a traditional mortgage because it conforms to your goals. It's a fixed-rate home loan that allows you to custom design a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year fixed Yorgage is an amazing 3.5%. APR 3.69%. Call today at 800-970-8011.
Call us for cost information. Other restrictions may apply. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, is proud to present the Peerless Diamond.
That's Jared!
Many experts say the most beautiful diamond is the Ideal Cut Diamond. Exclusively at Jared, the Peerless Diamond. The Ideal Cut Diamond is tested and certified by 2 independent laboratories. One measures the diamond's 4 C's, while the other its radiance and fire. This second report measures what your eyes will have already told you, that the Peerless is one beautiful diamond.
It can only be Jared!
Strap it up.
The Dogs from the 37.
And get ready.
Murray wants to throw deep down the middle. There's Tavares King. Yes, he got it.
This is Georgia football.
5, touchdown.
Saturday, the Bulldogs take on Kentucky. Coverage starts at noon on Talk Radio 102.3. Brought to you by Great Clips, the Northwest Georgia Bulldog Club, Rick's Lock and Key, Goss Jewelers, Diesel Plus, Center for Sports Medicine, PSC Metals, Key James Brick and Tile, and Fines Hearth and Patio.
He talks and talks and talks. So, how does he keep from repeating himself? Jeff Styles, a Chattanooga Talk icon. Just ask him. Morning 6 till 9 and 10 till noon on this FM frequency, 102.3 WGOW FM.
$346 and a little bit of change. Bob Moore Hour. It's a Tuesday. WGOW. All right, we got callers wanting to talk, so we're going to let them talk. And they're going to be talking to Dr. Gene Howard Hill, running for 3rd Congressional District Congressperson. Let's go straight to Brother Bush, who's been waiting. Hi, Brother Bush. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Always good to hear your voice, brother. Always listening and trying to be informed and reminding others to do the same.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for this every Tuesday. Dr. Hill, definitely. I should have recognized you first. You're the lady over there, and I'm sorry I didn't. I don't call in much, but I'm always listening. The people do perish for lack of knowledge. Hosea 4.6. Here's my quick question. Well, first of all, my compliments to you for your many years of continuous committed service to the community. It always impresses me when I see someone involved that doesn't have to be involved. You can just reap the gains of your schooling and live quite well off of that. But you know it's bigger than that, making the community better for those in the future, now and for those in the future, in honor of the sacrifices. That's something we should all write into. But what's going to be possibly the first piece of legislation that you'll put forth in Congress when you are elected, or what will be your congressional agenda? Answer that for us, and keep up the great work, and thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Brother Bush.
Thank you so much for your question. Well, I can't really say one thing because there are a number of things that I want to do. First of all, I want to start dealing with some issues that sometimes we don't look at simply because we haven't gotten out there and talked to the people. And I've talked to people, and there are some issues with federal funding, and everything that we do in Congress is not legislatively influenced. Congress also has the power of oversight. And there are some things that are going on within the 3rd District that have been brought to my attention that have troubled me. One of them is within the educational arena, where you have kids who are artistic and they're not getting the services that they need. And where they're borderline, they're just going through the cracks. And when federal dollars are being brought in here, and I want to say this, and I want to make it clear, as your Congresswoman, I'm going to be about oversight. And every federal dollar that comes into the 3rd District, I want to see the outcomes. I want to make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to do with the money, particularly as it relates to our children and any other areas. If you will give me until January, we're putting that information on the website now. Even some legislation that I plan to put in the hopper, jamming on the one, not waiting for the 2 or the 3. And it's just so much. I have maybe about 4 or 5 different areas of legislation, and it would take too long right now to talk about that, but I will be talking about that in length come January, and we'll be passing that information on starting out the first week in January.
All right, 2 or 3 issues that are top of mind with everybody. The repeal of the health care, or what Republicans like to call Obamacare. And what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on repealing the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy? And let's talk about Social Security and Medicare. How are we going to save it? So those 3 issues real quick. As you know, we don't have a lot of time, so just do the best you can.
Well, let's take them backwards. Medicare, we knew when we started dipping into the Social Security funds that we were spending money that we should not have spent. And so as a result of that, we were using that money for different other things to pay down the deficit instead of leaving that money where it should have been and letting that money accrue interest. And so as a result of that, now all those years of spending money, we're lacking in the Social Security fund. And so what we've got to do is that we've got to protect the interests of those people who are entitled to Social Security at this particular time, while also trying to do something to make sure those people that are paying in now. It's complicated. And anyone who says that they've got the exact solution, they do not have it.
All right, health care. I only in the interest of time.
Well, health care. I believe that in America we need to be more compassionate. There are people dying every day simply because they do not have health care. I would not say repeal anything. Go back and tweak some things, see what did not work, and make it work.
Well, your Republicans that are listening to you don't like what they're hearing, just right there.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say a lot of things that some people are not going to like it, but this is the truth. we don't need to repeal it. We need to go and find out what works and what does not work. Now, if you constitute that as a repeal, then so be it, because there's some good things about it, there's some bad things about it. And what we've got to learn to do is stop branding things and look for the positives, because people are dying, people are hurting, and they're going without medical care while we're jumping up and down about whether or not it's Obamacare or Whobama or whoever.
I hear you. All right, 3:52. John, you hang on. We got to take a quick break, and this traffic is sponsored by Wagner's All About Storage. Need quick mobile storage for home, industry, or your job site? Wagner All About Storage is your storage specialist. Ask about their new self-storage facility. Call for details, and that number, 267-2129.
When it matters, Chattanooga turns to accurate team traffic on WGOW.
WGOW traffic, wrapping up a couple of wrecks. Brainerd Road at Northmore, also Standifer Gap Road at Jenkins, and working some accidents throughout the scenic city. Igo Gap Road at Jenkins, McCauley Avenue at Baldwin, 24 eastbound at the Split. McBrien Road at Greenbrier Terrace, Brainerd Road at North Germantown. Buckle up, play it safe. We got one in Catoosa County, Battlefield Parkway at Fant Drive. Nathan Fox, accurate team traffic, WGOW.
You're listening to Bob Moore Tuesdays on Live and Local. The lines are open now at 267-1023, 267-1023. Bob Moore Tuesdays, sponsored by Zaxby's, East Brainerd Road, Highway 58, Ooltewah, Fordo, and Soddy Daisy. Zaxby's, indescribably good. Bob Moore Tuesdays on Talk Radio 102.3.
All weight loss programs see surges, spring swimsuit season, and the holidays, a time of parties and family snapshot postcards when sweaters suddenly become snugger. But Blue Sky MD is not your typical weight loss program. Year-round, Blue Sky MD works with their patients physically and psychologically, because the pros know that making an honest, final decision to lose weight and keep it off requires a total shift in lifestyle. Now, having said that, Blue Sky MD will be more than happy to help you start trimming down before the trimmings go up on the tree. 25 to 30 pounds in 7 weeks, sound about right? And remember, during this season of walking down that golden memory lane, that the you of yesteryear is not gone. Blue Sky MD's all-natural hormone replacements will help the ladies lose the mood swings and night sweats and hot flashes. And guys, how about a sharp increase in libido in your stocking this season? Don't just suffer with menopausal symptoms. Gift yourself with a real solution. All-natural hormone replacement and weight loss and vitamin regimens. Feel younger, happier, and more energized in 2012. BlueSkyMD.com, 553-5999.
I'm in a state of caffeination, got all my fingers shaking. Must have been my large Americano, mochaccino, macchiato. Now the family's gone to bed, and that's my favorite time to get some tips on better rates. Cause my State Farm guy answers late, and even when it's not my agent, someone's standing by so patient. Getting coverage questions answered helps me to relax. Get to a better state, State Farm.
I can't believe I'm pulling this off after all these years. So glad I got that personal loan from One Main Financial.
Can I take this blindfold off?
Let me help you.
We're going on a cruise.
No, dear. The honeymoon we never took.
You've made promises, we can help you keep them. We are One Main Financial, providing personalized loan solutions with flexible payment options. Go to onemainfinancial.com or call 1-855-321-MAIN. One Main Financial, your needs, your goals, your dreams. Offer subject to restrictions and requirements of the licensee. For licensing information, visit our website or call us.
At Advance Auto Parts, we don't do anything just part way. We go full throttle. We don't just sell batteries. Oh, no. We install them fast and free with purchase on most vehicles. And we mean fast. If strapping on an experimental jetpack would help us install your battery any faster, we'd do it. Unfortunately, jetpacks can be squirrely. Too bad, because we really wanted those things. Fast, free battery installation at Advance. Service is our best part. Advance Auto Parts.
When faced with the eventuality of a life-threatening ailment, not only do many people opt for hospice care due to circumstances, but it's also the best available option. I'm Jed Mescon. This Wednesday night, we talk to Hospice of Chattanooga, especially when you or a loved one are faced with a terminal diagnosis or just struggling to cope with complex pain. Let this unreal team of professionals help you out. 7 o'clock on Talk Radio 102.3.
Chapstick asks, do you use Chapstick Lip Shield 365 in sand or snow?
Hi, I'm Sandy Sanderson, and I just love the sand. Quicksand, ampersands, sandalwood scented candles. And I wear Chapstick Lip Shield 365 to keep my lips protected from the sun year-round. My boyfriend here also wears it.
Yeah, I'm Sleety McNippison, and I like snow. Snow tires, snow peas, snow leopards, snow
Are you
crabs,
sand or snow? Either way, new Chapstick Lip Shield 365 with SPF 50 has you covered. And have your say at facebook.com/chapstick.
Mike Rowe talks with a real Ford service advisor about a big event.
Fiona, if I didn't know better, I'd say you're having some sort of, sales event?
Yes, we are. The big tire and brake sales event.
What are the important aspects of the sale?
Right now, we have special rebates, offers, and discounts.
Stop by a Ford dealer now to buy 4 select tires and get a $100 rebate. Plus, get a $40 rebate on Motorcraft Complete Brake Service.
So you have a lot of tires and involves brakes too.
Correct.
Which is why it's called the Big Tire and Brake Sales Event.
You're good.
Yeah, thank you.
Stop by a participating Ford dealer for vehicle exclusions and rebate details through 11/30/11.
Calling Dr. Stiles, Dr. Reynolds, Dr. West. You're wanted in surgery. Stat.
Chattanooga's Brain Salad Surgery, performed weekday mornings on the Talk Monster.
Calling Dr. Stiles, Dr. Reynolds, Dr. West. You're wanted in surgery. Stat.
All right. This weather brought to you by Wagner's All About Storage. Need quick mobile storage for home, industry, or job site? Wagner All About Storage is your storage specialist. Ask about their new self-storage facility. Call for details, 267-2129. Storm Track 9, Tuesday forecast, Bill Ray. Scattered rain today, rain and storms tonight, low 50, showers, a little colder tomorrow, high 64. Let's go to John, who's been waiting. I want to get John in before we head on out. And what did I miss, Greg Schaefer?
You need the DeStefano one.
Oh, did I need that one? Well, then that's why that was circled, and this one is. And
that's why that one came with a weather forecast attached to it.
I am seeing right here. I've got the wrong one.
Well, do you,
Why don't you do it?
Feel like your eyes are getting tired and scratchy when you wear those contacts and glasses? Get rid of them. Call DeStefano Eye Center for a free LASIK evaluation. Ask about the LASIK Dry Eye Study discount. Call 648-3937.
That'll work, too. All right, let's go to John real quick. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Is Miss Hill still with you by any chance?
Dr. Jean Howard Hill is with me.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I was just wondering if she still stands behind her her virulently anti-homosexual comments that she wrote in her book some years ago. I'm wondering if she ever recanted that or if she still stands behind that.
All right. Do you want to comment on that, Dr. Hill?
Okay, I'm not sure what anti-homosexual comments I made, but if you want to know what my position is on marriage, I believe that marriage is a covenant between male and female, and that it is a biblical-based, created covenant, and I will not back off of that. Do I hate homosexuals? No, I do not.
Any other comment, John?
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm just curious, if I respect that view, what about people who don't believe in, God? How would you, address an atheist voter who is considering voting for you, and if that particular viewpoint doesn't do it for them? Do you have any other basis besides?
Everyone has a right to believe or not believe. That's one of the beauties of America. You have freedom of religion. I'm not trying to push my religion upon anyone, but I find that my faith has been the basis of who I am, and it has gotten me through the many things in my life. And so, therefore, I don't recant my faith, and I wouldn't ask anyone else to recant theirs.
All right. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. All right. Do you have I can't get him off of mine, Greg, so if you don't mind doing it on your end. In the 30 seconds we have left, what would you like to say to the potential voters of the 3rd Congressional District on your behalf?
I would say that I'm going to earn your support. I'm going to get out there, talk to you, listen to people. Even if you have different opinions with me, I still feel that you have a right to have an opinion and to share that with me. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me so that when I go to Congress, you can truly feel that you have someone that represents you and represents you not only as a congressperson, but also as one that cares about the people of the 3rd District, and I appreciate your support.
Thanks for being with me. That was a fun hour. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you having me on, and I just love that music.
All right. Well, especially picked out by me. All right, Greg Schaefer. When it's a little...